One.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of The Extra Point. I'm Gabby Bates and I'll be your host for the evening. Joining me tonight will be Nick, Zach, Beard, and Andy. Gentlemen and you at home, coming up on today's show, we'll be discussing the Super Bowl and get into a little bit of the Deflategate issue. Later we will discuss the viral Marshawn Lynch interview and get into what's going on in the NBA. Then move into some college basketball, discussing your Clemson Tigers. But first, let's talk Super Bowl and some of the issues involved. Tom Brady and the Patriots are currently in a hot seat right now because they were thought to have cheated during the AFC game against the Colts. NFL investigations found that 11 of the 12 balls the Patriots used in the first half were deflated. The balls are required to be inflated 12.5 to 13.5 pounds per square inch. The investigation found that the balls were deflated by an average of 2 pounds. On the other side of the field, we have the Seahawks are struggling with a controversy as well. Marshawn Lynch made an appearance Tuesday in the Super Bowl Media Day. He spent a few minutes just saying, "I'm here just so I won't get fined." He was threatened by the NFL and he would be fined $500,000 if he did not make an appearance at Media Day. It has been reported that Lynch could actually be fined, but the reason is not necessarily the interview, but the hat that he wore to the interview. The hat had the words Beast Mode, which may not be a brand that is approved by the NFL. If the NFL finds that Lynch used Media Day to promote a brand not approved by the NFL, he could be fined significantly. Besides these issues, the Seahawks will be facing the Patriots in the Super Bowl on Sunday. So let's get some Super Bowl predictions, guys.
You know, Andy, it's your first day on the show. I'm going to let you lead off on this one, bud.
I don't know. I looked into the Seahawks and the Patriots so much these past couple of weeks. It's really a toss-up. I mean, depending on how the games go. The Seahawks defense is, nobody can dispute that. They're unreal. I mean, they're so good. They lost a couple key pieces this offseason, but they still had a terrific year, and that's what got them to the Super Bowl. But with Sherman banged up and with Thomas banged up, the question is, can their defense really perform this for the Super Bowl? I mean, and I don't know that. So I think the Patriots will win. I'm going to say the Patriots will win 35-21. I think they win pretty well.
35-21. I agree with you. I think it's great that the Seahawks have gotten to this point, but I disagree on the fact that you think, I disagree on your point that they're going to lose. I think Sherman, I think the defense will come back healthy. They've had a couple weeks to rest. I think everyone will be ready, and if there's anybody out there, if there's anybody on the Seahawks and they're not ready, with the exception of like torn ACLs or whatever, I think there's no way they miss the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game of their career, and the Seahawks have been here, and I mean the Patriots have been here too, but their last appearance was in 2008. It's pretty much an entirely different roster with the exception of Belichick and Brady. I just think the Seahawks have the experience, they have the momentum, and I just think they match up better. And I think the Seahawks take this one.
Just another point. I mean, if you don't mind, I think. Do the Seahawks have somebody that can match up with Gronk? You know, I mean, Gronkowski's their go-to. I mean, Tom Brady's favorite receiver. I mean, that the ball late in the game is going to go to Gronk, and Gronk's going to turn it into something big. That's the main thing for me. Even with the even with the healthy Sherman, I mean, nobody really can stop Gronk. You know.
I think one of the biggest guys that will be able to help slow down Gronk at least, because no one's going to stop Gronk. All you can do is contain him, hopefully, and just. I think what we're going to see a lot of Bobby Wagner in coverage, pressing him off the line of scrimmage and dropping into coverage and trying to stop him on the intermediate routes, about the 5 to 10 yarders. Because he's a fast guy. He's got great lateral quickness. He can cover most tight ends in the league. Obviously not going to stop him, but it's just like you got to be able to control the amount of damage that he ends up doing to the team, and I think that's probably their best bet.
Yeah, I think you guys both make some pretty interesting points. And adding on what you said, there's no such thing in the NFL as a good matchup for Gronk. He's probably the most difficult player to contain or prepare for in the entire NFL. I think the Seahawks defense is on a roll, and they seem to be almost unstoppable, really. I mean, they've stopped the Packers, who we thought to be possibly the best offense in the entire NFL. But the Patriots on their side of the ball are just dominating everyone they play. They dismantled the Colts, Deflategate aside. We don't know what happened there necessarily, but they were down at first against the Ravens, started off kind of shaky, but then they still ended up putting them away pretty easily. And even in the regular season, big wins over the Broncos and other such great teams. But we've seen this in the past with the Patriots in 2008 against the Giants, of course, when they were 18-0, first undefeated team going into a Super Bowl, or first team to go 18-0, I should say. And then, of course, they blew that one and lost to the Giants. And then again in 2011, I believe, when yet again they played the Giants, they were a supremely dominant team that year in the AFC, but then they couldn't pull it out again. So I see the Patriots like steamrolling teams, but I also think the Seahawks are on kind of that journey right now where it doesn't seem like they could lose to anybody. So I'm going to go with a gut decision and say that the Seahawks pull away with the win, very slim.
I agree. So, Gabs, what should we talk about next?
All right, so let's move away from football and let's get into some NBA. We have the Hawks soaring with a long winning streak of 30-2 and taking the #1 spot in the NBA power rankings. The question is, will the Hawks keep it, and will they be a title contender? We also have seen a lot of injuries recently. Durant will be out with his second straight game due to a toe injury. We also have Kobe Bryant out with a torn rotator cuff and is expected to be out for the rest of the season. We also have the Raptors overcoming their slow start, getting their third straight win. Let's get your take on what's going on in the NBA, starting off with your opinion on the power rankings. Guys?
I'll let you take this one first.
Well, you know me, I'm not usually one to give much thought into power rankings, but I think it does a pretty decent job of capturing what's going on in the NBA right now. Hollinger's power rankings on ESPN have the Warriors as #1 right now currently. The Hawks are #2, Clippers 3, Grizzlies 4, Rockets 5. Oh, that sounds just about right. The thing that's confusing me, however, is that they have the Wizards at 12. At 31-15, the Wizards are at 12 in the power rankings. And at 23 and 22, the Oklahoma City Thunder are at 11. That doesn't sound right to me. What do you think?
I mean, power rankings are all about, who's hot now. OKC's playing well ever since Durant's got back. I mean, their overall record doesn't show that, but Wizards. I mean, personally, I think it's Wizards should be higher than that because not only have they been playing well now, but they've been playing well the whole entire season. Once again, they're 31-15. So I don't look into power rankings too much, especially because it combines the two conferences. Yeah. So I really try to look at the standings in the East Conference as opposed to the West Conference. So I try to stay away from the power rankings, but. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you there. Washington at 12, that's very interesting to me.
It makes you wonder how Hollinger ranks these teams, if you think about it, because then their last 10 games, the Thunder and Wizards are both 6-4. And I mean, yeah, the Thunder beat the Wizards, but I mean, I think the Wizards have just been playing much better basketball over the term of the regular season, and they've been really on fire lately. They won back-to-back games against Western Conference teams, so that's a hard feat to accomplish, no matter what the quality of the Western team is. It was the Lakers. It was the Lakers and the. But what do you think?
I mean, I think East kind of gets the short end of the stick when in things like these with power rankings because the East is very weak. So that again, that kind of goes into playing with it. Because the East is not a good conference. I mean, you look at Miami, who's the 7th seed, and they're 20-25. They're 5 games below 500. I mean, the 7th seed for the West is San Antonio, who's 29-17. They're 12 games above 500. So, the East is not a very good conference for some reason. I mean, I've yet to find out that reason. You try to look at that. There's great players in both conferences. I mean, I don't think the West dominates the East in players.
Yeah, if you look at it in terms of superstars, the East has
more
of the superstars.
Yeah.
You got LeBron James, you got John Wall, you have Carmelo Anthony. I just don't understand why so much of the why it's so shifted towards the West. It's never really made sense to me.
I mean, then again, could we look at the superstars and think that they're kind of late? I mean, you look at them; they're lazy during the regular season.
That's true.
Melo really doesn't play that well.
LeBron's just now coming on.
I mean, LeBron's just now coming on. I mean, granted to an injury and everything, but
that's true.
You just look at some guys and they know that they're going to get there, and they'll turn it on when they get there. But during the regular season, when it really doesn't mean anything, do they really come to play every night? And that's one of the huge things that the NBA in general is being scrutinized on is the players don't come to play every night, and that's why people favor NCAA or college basketball over NBA. So I think maybe the East has some more lazy superstars than the West. I don't know.
And another thing that kind of just I don't really understand about Hollinger's power rankings is how he puts the Warriors at #1 and the Hawks at 2, and the Warriors just lost a game and the Hawks have a better record and they have won 16 straight. It doesn't make sense to me. I think it's just a little bit of Western bias there. But what do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I don't really like Hollinger's ranking system that much. He is historically pretty West biased. And I mean, he has reason to. The West is extremely dominant in the NBA. Getting back to what you were saying about the East does have more superstars, I have to say, on average probably, but it really comes down to coaching. I mean, there's really not one standout coach in the East. I mean, there's a couple good ones here and there, but the West really dominates the coaching side. I really like the Hawks right now. I think they're playing great, and they have the best record. They're a huge surprise and a great story this year for the NBA in a really strange season. But I don't know if they're going to be able to hold it on because they don't have a lot of experience on that team. I still think the Bulls and the Wizards are the two biggest threats to come out of the East, but still I don't even really think that any team in the East is that big of a threat to take down anybody in the West. I think the Warriors, the Grizzlies, the Rockets, I think those teams all have the best shot at the title. Not saying that the East could pull it out, but I still don't really like their chances all that much. Gabby?
Now for your very own Clemson Tigers, the Clemson men's basketball received their win over the Demon Deacons last Saturday. The Tigers won 59-57 against the Deacons. It came down to the last second of the game with Rod Hall getting a steal, allowing the Tigers to regain possession. Hall drove the lane for a layup and missed the layup. With only 0.5 seconds left, Josh Smith was able to get the rebound and put it back up to score and give the Tigers their victory over the Demon Deacons. Freshman Dante Grant led the scoring for the Tigers with 13 points and 7 rebounds. The Tigers are now 11-8 overall and 3-4 in the ACC. What do you guys think about the Clemson men's basketball team so far?
Well, you said it right there in the line. The Clemson men's basketball team, can't really expect too much out of them either way. They're a pretty middle-of-the-road team. But that Florida State game, not the Florida State game, the most recent game against Wake Forest, while it was exciting, I don't think it should have ever been that close. The free throws continued to plague the Tigers. They shot 52% against the Seminoles. And then with almost a week of rest in between, they only shot 56% against the Demon Deacons. When a team is pretty much giving you points and giving you opportunities to win the game, you have to be able to capitalize on them. And I think that's one of the biggest things the Tigers struggle with is being able to cash in and make the other teams pay for their mistakes. There's no way. I mean, it was exciting, buzzer beater. I was there. Everyone is losing their mind. But Josh Smith should never have had to have been in a position to where he had to put a game winner back in with 0.5 left. What do you think?
I mean, that you make a really good point there. I mean, Josh Smith was the guy that won us the game. But I mean, it's awesome to win on a buzzer beater and everything like that. But is it that impressive of a win? I mean, we took down the Demon Deacons. They're 9-11, 1-6 in the conference. I mean, last second shot or not last second shot, I mean, that just shows that we were that close to a team that's 1-6 in the ACC, 9-11 overall. I mean,
Clemson just can't continue to play like this and expect to be a threat at any point down the stretch. Because, I mean, if we're struggling against teams like Wake Forest, we have no chance at beating better teams like NC State tonight. We got Notre Dame, and I think we still play. Do we play Louisville again?
No.
No? I got my schedule mixed up. But the point is they can't expect to be a legitimate threat to make the NCAA tournament at this rate. And what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I'm actually relatively pleased so far with how Clemson's been playing. I didn't expect them to be as good as they are. I mean, they're still very middle of the road, like you said, but they are better and improving, I think, over how they were last year. The game against Wake Forest, it was a little too close to call, but it still was very exciting. Wake Forest is not a very good team, like you said, and that was a little disappointing. But they had the great win over Syracuse, and they played a pretty tight game against Virginia, who's the number 2 team in the country right now. So I think overall we have to be pretty pleased with them. Like you said, we have NC State tonight in NC State. It's going to be a very tough game, but if the Tigers can pull that out, I think they might have a chance at really pulling the season around. Yeah,
no, I went to the Florida State game, and I really saw, I mean, we lost to Florida State, but I think we have the potential. I think we did really well against Florida State. We did really well rebounding. And the only thing that I'm really concerned about with our basketball team is our free throw percentage. We didn't do too well with free throws.
We are pretty poor so far right now at the free throw line, and that's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing a team has to be very good at, is come down to the fundamentals. You look at a team like UConn last year that won the tournament. Probably the number one reason they won that championship was their free throws. They were almost perfect in the tournament, and a lot of those games come down to a couple points, and those free throws really make it seem important.
I feel like as many times as we had, like to shoot free throws and we miss them. We definitely could have. We definitely could have beat Florida State with free throws. Definitely.
Yeah, I agree there.
And another thing that comes to mind when talking about Clemson basketball is our attack on our game plan on offense. It just makes no sense to me. We spend 25 seconds swinging the ball around the perimeter. You have Landry Noko setting picks above the perimeter. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Landry Noko is 6'10", 6'11". Get him the ball. Let him go inside. He was being productive on offense during the first few games of the season, and then we just stopped using him. I don't know why we keep insisting on trying to lob up threes. We shot 22% against Wake Forest. It's obviously not our game to be shooting threes. We need to start going inside more. And yeah, they got blocked a few times against Wake Forest when like Rod Hall and players like that tried to drive in and do layups, but you can't just give up on that aspect of the game entirely, because when you're just doing swing passes around the perimeter, the defense can just cheat and press tighter on the perimeter, because I know you're not gonna go inside. You're not gonna win anything when all of your offense comes from shooting threes, unless every player on your team is Kyle Korver, which they're not.
Yeah, you made a good point with you made the point the beginning of the year that Landry Noko got the ball a lot, and going to the very, I don't know, I went to the Rutgers game. We lost 69-64. And I was like, Noko's like, he's not a bad player. I mean, this is the first year that I've actually paid attention to Clemson basketball, other than last year's NIT tournament run. But, but look who we played the first few games. Florida A&M, Winthrop, Gardner-Webb, Nevada, LSU, High Point, Rutgers. I mean, we didn't play a ranked team or a halfway decent team until, Arkansas, with our 9th game or 8th game or something like that. I mean, of course, players are going to look good. Because I remember watching Dante Grantham and be like, wow, this freshman actually can play. Yeah. I mean, and now you look at him just like, geez, stop shooting the ball. You couldn't hit water from the top of a boat.
I mean, I think he has to green light at this point. I mean, who else are they going to let shoot?
But that's the thing, too. I mean, Brad Bernal, amazing defensive coach. You said you made another point that it's not our game to shoot threes. It's not our game to play offense. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, our offense is atrocious. It's awful. Our defense, has been great the last 4 years. We've led the league or been up there number 2, number 3 in the league in the conference in defensive points allowed. I mean, even this year we're still right around the top of the league for defensive points allowed. But, when you can hold a team to 55 points, but if you only score 50 points, you're not going to win many ball games, and Clemson's showing that right now.
And I brought up, and I touched on the point that we set a lot of high picks. We don't really do pick and roll. We do pick and just kind of linger around the top of the key. Mm-hmm. You don't see guys rolling towards the basket trying to get inside shots. I mean, I don't know if that's in the game plan, if they're supposed to be taking shots from the top of the key like Nene, but you just they set picks and just kind of linger around. You don't really see much out of our offense.
I mean, but look at our offensive guys. Do we have that one guy that with the last 2 minutes on the line, they're gonna take the ball, and you trust him with the ball, and they're gonna score. I mean, Rod Hall's trying to be that guy, but I've seen him try too hard. Drive into 3 guys down in the center, take an awful 3-point shot that he can't shoot. I mean, Rod Hall can't shoot. I mean, Rod Hall is a pass-first point guard, and we really miss. I mean, a guy like KJ McDaniels, who really did it all for us last season.
Yeah. Coming into the season, I thought Jerron Blossom game would be the one that came up, and he's athletic, but it's just he's not been able to do what we need him to be, which is become one of the we needed him to fill in the role of a KJ McDaniels and come in and provide instant offense, and we really don't have a player that is no one on the Clemson Tigers is a guy that other teams are gonna be like, wow, we really got to lock down on him and double team him.
Yeah, I mean. You look at all the top 25 teams at least, and you can name at least 1 or 2 guys that, in your scouting report, and you got to lock down. If you lock those guys down, you have a good chance of winning. I mean, Clemson, I don't think teams really come into Clemson thinking, all right, we really need to lock down Rod Hall. Because is he that big of a threat offensively?
No, I mean he's a fast guy. He can pass, but he's not going to hurt you with his scoring.
I mean, Blossom game, he's completely inconsistent. There's games where he's like, okay, wow, here we go. This is what we expected out of you. Grantham, he's not what he's going to be. Because I think Grantham would be special by the time he's about to get
right now he's the leading scorer for the Clemson Tigers.
He's the one that shoots the most too, though. I mean,
that's
and a lot of people say, hey, Grantham, he's just shooting too much. We're not getting anything out of him. He just shoots way too much. I mean, do you agree with that? Do you think he shoots too much?
Somebody has to.
Yeah, someone's got to put the ball up, or else we're just going to be passing around the passing around the perimeter to infinity. You know, Grantham shot. It looks nice. It's just one of those ones that he's got to keep working on. He's got to put the time in the gym. Yep. I think he'll be a special player. I think he'll be the next Clemson Tiger to make it into the NBA if he can continue to work on his game. Might not be a lottery pick, but I could see him being like a late first or maybe an early second if he lives up to what his potential is. He's a big guy. He's got
6'8".
a good frame to put on some muscle. He's not bad. I can't give him too much crap. He's a freshman. You know, he's got stuff to work on, but I mean, who doesn't as a freshman?
Jaleel Okafor.
He could work on a mid-range.
I think he's a little bit of an exception. Just a final word on what you guys were touching on. I think that they do set a lot of picks, and it seems like they want somebody on the team to just create their own space, but we don't have that special point guard like one of the Harrison brothers or Ryan Boatwright or somebody like that who can just Kemba Walker, but someone that can just, take a pick and then, just, dribble their way in there and get a nice little alley-oop layup or something like that. But we have good size and we need to go in more. That's basically all I can think of on our offensive end that could really help us is just go inside. We have really good size and those young guys are very talented and I think that could work out for us.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, look at the NBA teams too. I mean, the good NBA teams, the Grizzlies, all but exception with the Warriors have a tremendous post presence. You look at the Grizzlies, they got
Zach Randolph.
Zebo. You got Zebo. You got Marc Gasol. I mean, the Bulls have Pau Gasol, Joakim Noah.
Just volleyball and rebounds back and forth on the boards. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, when you got an offensive game, when you have an inside offensive game, I mean, it just opens up so much for your outside game. And I think that's why you see those NBA teams and you see those NCAA teams like Duke and everything. That's why you see them really thrive offensively because of their inside presence. And that's just something I don't think we have, or at least we don't try to have. So
yeah, it's like you're not going to set up the inside game with outside game. You set up the outside game with an inside game. Yep. You got to make a team respect your inside presence to the point where they sag off so you can get open, uncontested jumpers outside of the line.
Okay, guys. Well, that's all I have for your sports this week. Tune in next Wednesday night at 8. Don't forget to call in to get on our debate about sports. Until next time, Clemson.
We started really late, though.
That, but next week I'm gonna try to get it to go. I'm gonna add some more topics in there. We're just gonna have to talk more. Talk more NBA. I think.
Yeah, I think we kind of cut off NBA a little bit too early.
Yeah, I do too.
Because that's our bread and butter right here.
Yeah. So, but this was kind of like a trial and error.
Yeah.
Kind of got us ready for. Because last week we didn't do trial and error.
It was good to get him some experience too. You did really well for